pal. Is this Ian Harrington, a.k.a. Sid Part 2 on YouTube?
Yeah?
Hello there, Mr. Harrington. How are you today?
Fine, who is this exactly?
Ah, yes. Sorry, how rude of me. This is Mickey Mouse.
Yeah, I'm hanging up now.
No, wait! I'm serious, Ian. This is actually Mickey Mouse, and I have an offer for you.
Offer? What kind of offer?
A once-in-a-lifetime kind of offer. An offer that, should you choose to accept the terms, will make Geeky Gentleman the most influential and beloved podcast in the world.
I'm listening.
Well, I know you've been clamoring to get more views for a long time now, and I have a surefire way to make you go from 40 views to 40 million views overnight.
What is it?
Ian, Disney would like to purchase the Geeky Gentleman podcast.
What?
You heard me. We're prepared to offer you $75 million for the podcast and make contracts for all three of you.
Alright, now every bone in my body is telling me this is some kind of sick prank. But I don't know, Mickey. Something's making me think that I should trust you.
Oh, boy. Well, I've been known to have that effect on people. I mean, why do you think everybody trusts every little thing that comes out of the Marvel Cinematic Universe? Because you know you can trust me, Ian. I always have your best interests at heart.
Really, Mickey? So that's the deal. $75 million for the podcast, and I assume we all get contracts. God, I'm gonna have to go talk this over with Milan and Steve.
Hang on a second there, Ian. There is, one more part of the deal.
Oh, yeah, sure. What is it?
Well, in return for Disney buying Geeky Gentleman and the money and power that comes along with it, all I need you to do is, I need you to let me take your mouth out for a spin. Oh, boy.
Oh, you mean like an audition to test my podcasting abilities? Sure, I'd be...
Oh, that's not what I mean. I'd like you to find out how many licks it'll take to get to the center of my Tootsie Pop.
You're gonna give me a Tootsie Pop?
Oh, boy. Well, in a manner of speaking, yes.
Mickey, I don't understand.
I'll cut straight to the chase, then. You want this deal? You're gonna have to give me head.
What?
Well, Ian, I'd like to bring my broomstick to life and then stick it in your...
Oh, God, please. No more metaphors. Listen, I understand what you want me to do. I just can't believe I'm hearing it.
Well, you don't have to believe in it, Ian. You just have to do it. Come on. Don't you trust me?
Well, yeah, Mickey, I do trust you. It's just that...
Aw, come on, Ian. Think about it. All you have to do is put it in your mouth and suck like Cars 2, and then Geeky Gentleman will be the most popular podcast in the world. Come on, Ian. You know you want to.
But I really don't want to, though.
Listen, kid. Do you know what George Lucas, Johnny Depp, and Robert Downey Jr. all have in common?
They're rich?
Yes, because they've also all had my cock in their mouth and my jizz on their face. The House of Mouse is the residence of success in Hollywood, and I'm offering you the keys to the front door. Now, are you gonna be smart and let me make you my little cum dumpster? Or are you ready to go to war with the biggest media conglomerate the world has ever seen? Go ahead. I dare you to wish upon that star, you mouse-keteering motherfucker!
Gentlemen, the time has come once again to discuss things.
On that note, hi everyone, welcome to this week's episode of Geeky Gentlemen. I am Sid Partu. Joining me today is Steve Baxi and Milan Jeftik, aka the Russian comic book geek, and aka Steve Baxi.
Yes, we're all here together for the first time in like months.
I know.
Yeah, fuck the universe, man.
Yeah, fuck it. And apparently Steve Baxi is now a capital S and a capital B now.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's progressed to capitals, which is awesome.
I'm also a fully licensed Geeky Gentleman product.
I know,
Yes,
right?
When are you gonna give me that video so we can post the reaction thing?
Didn't I already send it to you?
You tried to over Skype and it didn't work out, but I didn't get a link from YouTube and stuff.
Oh, shit, yeah, let me go ahead and upload it as we speak.
Okay, cool. No, don't, because fuck your internet.
Oh, okay, afterwards then.
Yeah.
I'll upload it afterwards.
Your internet is awful, gotta say.
This is true.
Yeah, your internet's just a bad person.
Yeah.
Just
Untrustworthy.
in every conceivable way.
It would fuck your wife behind your back.
No, and like right in front of you, man.
Oh, definitely, definitely.
Like you could walk in on Steve Baxey's internet having sex with your wife, and it wouldn't even have the common courtesy to stop.
Yeah, it would just keep going, and it just wouldn't pull out. It just like looking, it'll stare you right in the eye, just right in the eye, with these cold.
It's like that
dead
scene in American
eyes.
Psycho with Christian Bale just pointing at himself.
Yeah, I remember seeing like a meme of Rage Wolf or whatever it was, and it was like parents walk in on you jerking off to porn, stare at them in the eyes, and finish. Okay, anyway, so with that family-friendly image in mind,
Remember, we are gentlemen.
Oh,
Yeah,
definitely, yeah.
with this week's topic in mind, we're going to be talking about a topic someone suggested me over Twitter, Jid2012. If you want to go follow him on Twitter for an awesome suggestion. I'm going to talk about Disney as a cultural enterprise. And this is something he'd suggested a couple weeks ago, and I've been kicking around in my head, but I think there's a lot to talk about with this. And I mean, you just say that and it sounds cool. Disney as a cultural enterprise. I feel like I've just I feel like my IQ just jumped several points every time I say that.
Essentially, one day we will all pay tribute to the mouse with blood and chocolates.
Well, yeah, it is funny because Disney seems to be buying up everything. Like Deadpoolzilla, our good friend here, did a video a couple weeks back because Disney is broadcasting David Tennant episodes of Doctor Who on one of their channels. And he's like, all right, yeah, no, that's great. More exposure for Doctor Who. I'm cool with that. But what are you doing, Disney? Are you thinking about buying up Doctor Who? Is that your next move, Disney?
They make a really big deal out of the fact that they've got like a power hour now of Star Wars and Doctor Who back to back.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like when you think about it, God, it seems like they're just sticking their fingers in everybody's pot.
You know what's gonna happen? Like, DC is gonna be sitting there, and Disney's just gonna saunter over to DC quietly and with dignity and respect, then kick DC over and put its heel on DC's throat and say, and just kneel down really, really right close to DC's face and whisper, "Say my name." And DC's gonna say, "No." And Disney's gonna say, "Say my name." "No! Say it!"
Okay, then.
That's very intense.
Yeah. That's what's gonna happen, and it's gonna be beautiful.
Okay, then. Anyway. No, it's interesting to see DC, not DC, Disney, all over the place, though. It's like, Disney used to be princesses and some funny cartoons, and now it's everything.
No,
But remember that it wasn't princesses and cartoons. That's what we thought it was, but Disney was always this multimedia conglomerate, and just no one paid attention until the last few years.
I know, I get that. I'm just saying, that's what it always felt like, though. It always felt like it was just, kind of in the background. Their big properties were princesses, and every so often they'd release, a live-action movie, and Pixar always felt like a different thing anyway. But God, just everything's, it's going crazy.
I know, but the thing is, what a wonderful master to be a servant to. I mean, you couldn't ask for...
Did Disney buy Milan Jeftik's channel?
I mean, there's no greater, entity to serve. I mean, it's just... No, I'm serious, dude. It would be horrible if it was some sort of, 90s-esque sci-fi future where this one company owns everything, but it's fucking Disney. It's like, hey, I'm Disney. I'll own your soul, but I'll do it with a smile. Here.
Soylent Green is delicious.
Indeed, it is actually delicious. I gotta say.
Yes, I don't know. This just a very interesting topic, and I don't know. I've been talking a lot, Steve. I want to get some more of your thoughts. Go ahead.
Well, this is, like you said, a pretty big topic. When you say Disney as a cultural enterprise, you're talking a lot about how Disney not only influences culture, but has the ability to change it. And how, whether or not it should have that power, because Disney is still a company, it's still a corporation at heart, and it still has these geeky things that we talk about, and these geeky things that we love because Disney was able to produce them. But the way it goes about them and the kind of example it sets and stuff, like, for example, just this last year, Disney was sued over the fact that all of its workers and the children and people that were housed in one of their offices were subjected to polluted air. And a bunch of people got sick over it. Disney is horrible with worker compensation. Disney is one of the most ruthless business partners you could get into because they don't merge. They do takeovers. And they set like a kind of a precedent for the business world as you don't want to get into bed with Disney because the winner will always be Disney. And then you look at the stuff they produce and the comic book heroes and with buying out Marvel and the Star Wars stuff and how they've got like their hands in two pots of simultaneously taking over the world while fixating us on entertainment. And you wonder how much we see of the other when we're engrossed in one of them.
You know what's awesome? One of these days, there's going to be a space station on Mars, and it's going to be the flag. It won't be in the
Disney World Mars.
Yeah, exactly. It won't be the American flag. It'll be the fucking mouse symbol. No, I'm serious. That's what's going to happen.
I believe you. Honestly, I do. And like it's weird because it's this kind of I maybe I've been reading Alex's Twitter account too much, but it is kind of this like capitalist dreamland, isn't it, though? Because it's able to go in and just perfectly buy and consume everything.
It's not a capitalist dreamland in the sense that this is bad for capitalism, but at the same time, it's a symptom of it.
I know, but...
Well, I mean, capitalism always ends in a monarchy unless the state comes... Or not a monarchy, in a monopoly unless the state comes in and actively prevents it. Like, that's the whole point, is it has to end in a monopoly.
Right, but I mean, it's not the dreamscape for capitalism in the sense that capitalism is not designed to do this. It's just a side effect of what happens when you try to be a capitalist society.
Soon, my friend, Disneyland will spread out like a cancer across the U.S. It will consume everything, and soon all will be Disneyland.
Quite possibly.
Yeah. I've got this,
as long as there's roller coasters and face painting, I'm cool.
Of course. But like, I find it so incredibly charming that Alex, our friend, the superhero enthusiast, is just such a delightful little communist.
It is pretty funny.
I know.
Every day I look at my phone, I've got like 40 unread messages, and they're all just Alex tweeting things about communism.
I know, and it's delightful. I want to talk to him again. Like, we're cool now and everything, but I'm like, I want to get him on and talk about communism and stuff, because I'm Russian and uneducated, and he's Canadian and is educated. I got this, like, my little brother brought home this little laser pointer from a sniper rifle. I don't know where he found it. That's it.
Okay, anyway.
That's it.
Anyway...
I don't know. The fact that talking about Disney as a cultural enterprise at all makes you wonder why we aren't all communists in the first place, and why that would actually be a bit of a better system.
Really? But I mean, like, sure, communism is cool and functional on paper, but they don't promote giant anthropomorphic mice walking around playing with children.
One of my favorite episodes of Geeky Gentleman was Milan talking about communist Russian cartoon characters like Comrade Bear and Comrade Rabbit, who all told you to support the state.
Actually, Russian cartoons are rather charming. They're actually rather...
Let's not talk about... let's talk about this.
Fine. Well, it's kind of thing. They're really subversive in a weird way. Like, hey, That's my bull. Not yours. Okay.
Anyway, let's get back to Disney.
All right.
So where else do we really want to go? Like, we're talking really broad strokes, but like, what have they done for the culture? Would you say?
They gave us Marvel.
No, they
They
didn't,
didn't give us Marvel.
Marvel existed already.
I know, but they made the Marvel movie actually good.
No,
No,
because they were good
there's
before
plenty of
Disney.
good Marvel movies
Oh,
before Disney.
that's true. Oh yeah, Blade and like that's good.
No, I mean,
No, I mean like Iron Man.
Oh yeah, really? They're not Disney?
No,
No,
Disney
Iron Man-
didn't have Marvel until after Avengers.
Oh.
Wait, no, I thought it was before. I
Well,
thought
they
they
bought-
in production of Iron Man 2.
They had Marvel around the time like Iron Man 2 was done and the Avengers was being made and such, but
Gotcha.
they didn't actually have any active involvement in Avengers except for advertising, and any of the stuff they mandated didn't happen until after that movie in Iron Man 3.
You know,
Okay.
you know what terrifies me? That they're just this whole Secret Wars event that's going on now. I'm like secretly I'm terrified that that's kind of Disney mandated. Like, turn everything easier to understand for the children. Let's
Oh no,
turn
it's not Disney
everything.
mandated. It's all down up from the CEO of Marvel.
Okay.
Is it any good though?
Yes,
It is.
it's good and
Okay.
bad. It's bad in the sense
Alright,
that I'm not
Steve,
reading Marvel anymore. It's good in the sense that the stories are still good.
Steve.
Okay.
Are you reading Ghost Riders?
Yes.
Racers. Yes. Ghost Racers.
Okay. Anyway, Disney. No, because like a couple weeks ago, Alex and I did that video where we were talking about Pixar being overrated, and he brought up an anecdote that I didn't know about. But when they're first working on their first big animated feature, as like Disney trying to prove that you could do an entire animated feature-length film, they either were going to do Snow White or John Carter of Mars.
Yeah.
And they ended up doing Snow White. And like Alex made the point, can you imagine the shift in perception of animation if they'd done John Carter of Mars?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And like there's I guess your whole argument for why Disney is a cultural enterprise. They were the first ones, at least in Western culture, to push a feature-length animated film, and in doing so, proved animation as a genre, not just the funny pictures that go up before the real movie. And that's fascinating when you think about it like that. It's also, I've been wondering about this, and I should probably look up the facts, but fuck it, Steve's here, he'll do it for me. Is Snow White the first fully colored film?
I don't think so. Let me check though.
Because like when you think about it, like the reason you couldn't have film in color is because films couldn't be in color, but you could do animation in color even back in the day. So I'm curious if it was the first colored film.
The first truly colored film, colored film actually goes all the way back to like 1902, but as far as like feature-length stuff goes, there was a United Artists production of Three Musketeers.
Okay.
Although the only surviving copy is in black and white.
Gotcha.
The first color film in Hollywood, though, which the reel of was lost, was Troll of the Sea.
Alright, I was just wondering, because it does seem like it was, well, even still then, it was one of the first big ones.
Yeah, it's one of the most successful ones, I guess, in the early days.
Yeah, one of the first hits in color and everything. No, I mean, just the fact that Snow White was made instead of John Carter of Mars, and that has influenced the perception of animation being for kids for the last, 80 years? 75 years?
Yeah, something in that range.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, so, I don't know, like, what do you guys think?
I think I think you're right. It is really cool that Disney is able to push an entire genre like that. But I think also what's really interesting is that Disney's got a very particular sense of what kind of culture it wants to perpetuate. Disney's got lots of stories where you're allowed to do whatever you want in your films as long as you make sure the very generic concept of nuclear families and peace at the end of the day is promoted. That they can't be anything that that doesn't support the further consumption of society. Like they've got a very strict policy on making sure you can't make anything that's anti-government that's also distributed by Disney.
Which is weird because, like, well, it's not weird for them. I don't know what I was trying to say there.
I think it's just kind of weird in the sense that, like, they've got Marvel and they've got Star Wars now, and that's what both of those companies are. They're the rebellious groups that would talk about those sorts of things. The flagship of Marvel now is Iron Man, and Iron Man's whole point since his inception is capitalism doesn't work and it makes people depressed.
And yeah, that's kind of interesting. I think like this is Disney branching out to explore concepts that it otherwise wouldn't be able to explore in its original, animation Disney princess type of format. So it's I guess it's just it's cornering the market on different aspects of thought.
Mm-hmm. Although it's still perpetuating the same kind of thought. I think what it's more so doing is it's branching out to various forms of thought and trying to conform them all into the same thing. And that seems ridiculously dangerous to me.
This is what...
Oh, I agree. But at the same time, we've gotten stuff like Winter Soldier. I think they're... Hold on, Milan. We've gotten stuff like Winter Soldier, so even though Disney has its hand in it, I think we're still getting some kind of subversion, and they're recognizing that maybe they're getting too one-sided with things. Because it's very Roddenberry Star Trek.
Yeah, you're right.
I've been watching through Star Trek TNG, and I was talking to Alex over Twitter about this. Alex keeps coming up in this episode. I was talking to Alex over Twitter about this. I'm like, so I learned that Roddenberry died while TNG was on air, and Alex has always told me that like the first 3 seasons of TNG are really bad. Do those 2 events line up? And he's like, yes. I was like, oh my god. I cannot believe that's the case, but it is. So, like, Roddenberry had this whole thing about, you couldn't do this, this, and this in Star Trek. Like, no one in Starfleet can be corrupt unless they're, like, possessed by an alien force. And people don't have personal relationship problems. Like, if someone were dating and then they stopped dating and that person were dating someone else, they'll be totally cool with it. That people don't have that kind of pettiness. Like, really? Only 400 years in the future we've completely gotten rid of all of those human nature problems in a show that's often about how human nature is good and triumphs over adversity in the universe and stuff? No, come on, that's crazy. But yeah, like it feels very much the same way with Disney then. It always has to be this like happy, Hollywood style ending.
Well, how would you feel if like they just have like a Disney movie where like everyone dies at the end? Like have it like, hey, Game of Thrones by Disney.
My favorite Disney movie is Old Yeller.
And remember, it's as simple as everyone being happy in the end as opposed to everyone dying at the end, because it's very much are they making films that are able to branch out thought? Are they making films that push the envelopes of what you expect to happen? Whether that means everyone dying at the end or just leaving something like at the end of Winter Soldier in a state of questioning what you already know. And they've certainly done that a little bit more over the last couple of years, but they don't have a history of that. And it's kind of scary to see the fact that Disney has branched out to so many places, that it's one of the largest companies in the world, that its entire strategy is take things by force and then give people like happy cartoons to make them subordinate to what they design.
It is very Orwellian in that sense, isn't it?
It is, and I don't know, it feels like a lot of what they produce with Star Wars and Marvel is against that realm of thought, and I wonder if, instead of changing our minds the way they want to, they'll change their own over time?
This is what I never understood. Everyone says, like, oh, Disney is so patriarchal, and everything. Like, Disney's always like, dude, all their characters are females. The men don't talk, and it's all like, hey, marry somebody
Okay, Milan, here's the test. Out of all the Disney princes, name them. Aladdin doesn't count, and the dude's name is not Beast.
What do you mean? Like,
name all the Disney princes.
Point. That's my point.
No, but this is my point. Disney teaches women to like a certain very archetypical thing. Rich, handsome, powerful.
Well,
that's what you should look for in a man.
That's a good thing.
Doesn't matter if they have any other defining characteristics. That's what you should be attracted to.
That's what you should be attracted to.
No, you shouldn't.
You should.
You should care about the person that you're with.
No. If you're a woman, you should only care about the person's financial background. What the hell? If I was a woman, I would marry a fat, rich man and just coast through life like a fucking queen. Oh,
You would do well with the Game of Thrones universe.
oh, it'd be awesome. It'd be amazing. But like, this is what I don't understand. Everyone says that Disney like is very traditionalist, and I really don't see it. I mean, overall, like all of their movies are like, hey, female characters, be powerful, fight for your dreams.
No. That does
Yeah.
fight for your dreams, maybe, but that stuff, like that early stuff, is very.
Well, that's early
very
stuff. That's
male.
1950s, 1960s. I mean, like 70s, whatever, dude.
Yep, but you said all their stuff.
Majority
yeah,
of wise, like
about
if
it.
you're gonna talk about, you know,
Yeah, but you said all their stuff, so
Well,
I'll
let me
admit,
fi-
yeah,
let me
they
fin-
have
let me
gotten
finish.
better about it.
I mean,
since the 90s.
yeah, they've gotten better, definitely. I mean, they have, you know, if you're gonna talk about, oh, Snow White is overly, you know, cliche, it's a fairy tale. What do you expect? But it's like modern, like Disney is incredibly fucking. Hey, we like the gays and shit, you know. And
Well, they've yet to put a gay character in.
good, no gay characters in cartoons. Steven Universe is just way too, like, oh my, they had a girl and a boy morph into a man woman thing.
Is Steven Universe Disney?
No, but it's super fucking gay, but like not in the.
But it's a really great series.
It is.
No,
it is
but-
amazing. But it's just
The
like
point I'm making though, is they're still very traditionalist. Even though there's Gay Day at Disneyland, I mean that's great and everything. I'm glad that they're doing stuff like that, but they're still very traditionalist. Why haven't we gotten a gay character?
I don't
in the
feel-
movie?
I
It doesn't
don't-
have to be the main character. It doesn't have to be a gay fairy tale. But why haven't we gotten a gay character in the movie?
I don't know. I don't feel comfortable with with Disney doing gay stuff. I mean,
Why?
I don't know. I just children should be.
And then you wonder if that's not a problem with Disney, that Disney makes you want to not makes you uncomfortable with the notions of change. Like we had The Princess and the Frog come out, and people were heralding it as finally Disney does something that's got diversity to it. It really underperformed. Disney doesn't talk about it. They've got no plans to further that whatsoever.
Well,
A
no,
lot of that
that's
just has
not
to do
true.
with its
Princess
silly
Tatiana
type of
was
thought
in
in people.
Frozen.
Sorry, what?
Princess Tatiana was in Frozen, so there you go.
That,
Take
that
that.
does not count
Shared
at all.
universe.
There's no official Disney cameo.
that
there.
doesn't make any sense, to be honest.
I know it doesn't.
I mean,
but
like they're set in 1920s.
it's a shared universe. Everyone has a shared universe now, guys.
Oh my God.
Breaking Bad takes place in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. You didn't know that?
Yeah, because if that were true, if that was really Tatiana, I mean, like black people have names that sound Russian when you say them in a Russian accent. Tatiana, it's a Russian
Well, I
name.
think all names sound Russian if you say them in a Russian accent.
I know, but still, I don't understand. Like, still the space-time complications of that. Just a black girl from the 1920s going back to, I don't know, medieval times. It's strange. But
I agree, Steve. That property has not been touched since it came out, and I didn't love Princess and the Frog or anything. We did an episode on
did.
it. If I remember, I'll put it in the description. Like, even still though, it did feel like I remember bringing that up. It felt like Disney was like, "Hey, we know we fucked up in the past, but now here's a black princess. Yay!"
And I mean,
Black
that's
princess.
the sort of thing with it is that, look, it's a black princess. It's got very little to do with the fact that Disney
that
wants to
bullshit.
grow its corporate culture.
They had a fucking Asian one, and a Native American one, and like a Muslim one. They had all kinds of like foreign people as princesses.
But again,
Yeah, but not a black character.
a lot of that wasn't the point of them, though. Like, if you see the way Disney does business, and you see the way Disney handles production of a lot of its movies, it's really mechanical. It's really just about plugging a formula for what best represents the culture. If you want girls, make it a princess. If you want boys, give them superheroes. It's got nothing to do with the quality of what they produce or the obligation they have to tell good stories. And the only people that are really trying to do that are the smaller branches like Pixar, but even Pixar has kind of had a downfall over the last few years where they haven't made anything very good.
Well, I mean, I disagree.
I think Pixar's falling into the same loop of like that's why I'm kind of getting sick of them getting all this praise because I feel like they're making the same movie over and over again.
Yeah, and I mean that's just the Disney thing of at a point you see the Disney formula. It's got nothing to do with empowering people as much as it's got a lot to do with controlling and promoting what you own, and that's about it.
I disagree on that point because I think Disney movies overall are just the quality of them. It just surpasses any kind of we should make them be political because because.
It's not like an agree disagree interpretive thing. It's just a matter of how Disney does business.
I don't know. Business and the creative pursuits of the people who work on the films is two different things. I tend to see, but
one is subordinate to the other. You can't have free range creativity if the people paying you to do it won't let you do it.
That's the thing. I want to talk more about like if Disney was to introduce an openly gay character, like it's just like I don't know, like would it be like the gay best friend? Like, hello, I am a gay warthog.
Well, no, like I mean. First of all, I don't like when people just diminish that group of the gay community. Like, every time a pro athlete or someone, like, big comes out as gay, they go, see, he's a total man's man. He's not, like, an effeminate man. I'm like, well, that's great for that branch of the gay community that is kind of an effeminate guy. Whatever.
Yeah, I don't... Look,
I guess they get to be smacked down. So, no, even if Disney did, like, a really effeminate character that's a gay man, I'd be okay with that. I just, like, if they are this cultural force that should be respected, that makes these great movies and everything, then you know what? Maybe Disney needs to be taking risks and leading the culture as opposed to just kind of keeping it at the same level of development since the 50s.
Exactly. Yeah, I completely agree.
Disney
has a very clear corporate responsibility that because they own so much, because they're able to control the flow of so much, they shouldn't be perpetuating a culture, they should be moving it forward. And a lot of that breaks down with who's in charge of it and the fact that they haven't really had a leadership shakeup in so many years.
Yeah, who did Paranorman? Do you guys know? What studio was that?
DreamWorks, I think.
Okay, yeah, because Paranorman, like, it's a last-minute joke thing, but it's fine. Paranorman had a gay character in it. I mean, it's
make sure.
It is thrown in at the last minute, kind of as a joke, but it does work. I mean, it's built up. It's a joke that's built up throughout the whole movie. So,
Focus Pictures, but it's not Disney, so.
Yeah.
Well, that's enough for me.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't feel comfortable with fucking that kind of shit.
Why?
I don't know. I just don't like people exposed to that stuff.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't get that interpretation at all, because, like, I stopped following Deadpool and Friends, Nate, on Twitter, because the other day he was like, oh, Cora's a lesbian now, I guess. Great, I get to explain that to my daughter. I'm like, I just don't have any patience for that, because I'm like, here's how you explain it to your daughter. Daddy, this girl likes another girl. Yeah, honey, some girls like other girls just like I like your mom, and some guys like other guys just like I like your mom. Oh, okay. That's it. That's how you explain gay. It's the easiest thing in the world. I don't understand why it's a scarring thing for people.
I just don't like people seeing that kind of thing as normal.
Why?
I don't know. It just doesn't feel right.
You're, like, so fucking brainwashed, then. That's the only conclusion I can give you.
No, the thing is just, like, it's fine when it's just like, hey, look at that. But it's just, like, it's one thing if you're like your college age and it's like, yeah, whatever, everyone likes that stuff. But when you're like a kid, it's just like, don't introduce that stuff to kids, dude.
But you're introducing them to heterosexual culture.
Well, that's the thing. That's the box standard. It's like, hey.
No, it's not. It's not. It's only been the box standard for the last 1,000 years.
Yes, 1,000 years, billions of years.
That's nothing. That's nothing. The Egyptians ruled for 3,000 years.
Yeah, so what? Like, they still had a fucking patriarch and a matriarch and all that stuff.
Yeah, they had a lot of gay sex, too. So did the Romans, so did the Greeks.
Yeah, well, they only...
So did the Chinese, for that matter.
What about the Chinese? The Chinese are fucking way... I never hear anything...
No. Human history... Recorded human history, not even talking about prehistory or animal kingdom shit. Human history is full of gay sex. It's only this weird made-up perception that heterosexuality is the norm.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just doesn't feel right. I don't know.
And see, again, this is just a matter of it's different now, and there's this very clear push to make things more clear. And a lot of people resist the fact that we're trying to force so much diversity into things. But at the same time, it's been so shafted for so long, and it's become so prominent in the culture that the media should represent it. So it's in some ways it's nice to push a lot of diverse ideas. Just because some people are uncomfortable with it doesn't mean that Disney should not force a gay character into the media. I love the idea, and I hate Jaden Smith, but I love the idea of a Static Shock movie. I love the idea of just do the comics where Static has his best friend he realizes his best friend's gay, and it's about their relationship and how you deal with things like that and how the perception of that's changed over time. Well, that needs to happen.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like, the whole Static Shock stuff is good because it's like, yeah, you can discuss it there because it's... Look, the thing is, I don't mind gay people coming out in other forms of media, but it's just like in Disney, it doesn't feel right. Like Disney...
I completely disagree.
Yeah, I disagree too.
Let's like, just so people don't freak out in the comments, I do like the dick, alright?
No, and that's kind of what's making me go, what the fuck? Like, the only thing I could think to compare this to was an interview I heard back when the French presidential election was going on, where they interviewed a woman because there was a woman candidate running for the French presidency, and they interviewed a woman on the street, and they're like, would you vote for her? And she goes, no, I think some positions should always be run by a man. I'm like, what the fuck, lady? You just, like, took down your gender. I'm, like, looking at Milan right now. I'm like, what the fuck, dude?
I don't know. I just think damn faggots got too big for their britches.
I guess. I don't know, man. It's a crazy thought to me. It's like, this is why I called you a house nigger a couple weeks back.
Well, I don't find that really lame, whatever. I'm white, by the way, but it's just like
that has nothing to do with it.
I guess not. I don't know. It's just like with Static Shock and stuff like that's in the story. That's fine. Like, you know, of course.
And so would it?
Yeah, like you have Batwoman. You have like
you'd make a story wherein a character is gay, so it's part of the story.
I know, but how would you do it in a Disney format? Like, hey, let's sing a song about
make a movie that's about a prince who's finding another prince. That's how you do it. Use the exact same format, just swap genders.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even need it to be the main character.
Yeah,
I would a character.
You know, I always want to see that just so they can have this song where they like subtly sing a song about dicks, just like I like myself a tallywhacker in my butt. Yes, and all these like anthropomorphic animals and whatever come singing like we like the butt sex, we like the butt sex. I don't know. It just is like I mean, like
shit. Penguins were popular a couple of years back. That would have been the perfect opportunity to go for it.
And I guess to get this in topic, part of what we mean here is there's a shift in culture that Disney in its individual companies like Marvel is easing into, but them as a corporate culture and as the leader of our culture isn't understanding and isn't working with. So if we're talking about Disney as a cultural enterprise, if Disney has this ability to shape the way we think and view things, and part of its smaller companies are trying to do that, what we need is people in charge of things, the CEO, to be shaken up and to get people in those offices making decisions that push us in a better direction.
Yeah, I agree, and I think what's needed. All right, so All-Star Superman, one of the best moments in the movie is when you see Jimmy Olsen walking around in a dress and heels and a wig and stuff.
Yeah.
And someone asks him, "Were you out on a story?" And he goes, "No, why?"
Well, Jimmy Olsen is just a fucking badass.
Shut the fuck up. Like, I want that scene to happen in the new Supergirl show. And I need Disney to do stuff.
But he's a big old black man.
That's fine. It can be a red wig instead.
Although Jimmy Olsen in the Supergirl pilot is pretty awesome.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, like, I need stuff like that to be happening in Disney. Like, I need, you just need to have it there and not explain it.
Why?
Not make a joke out of it, not explain it, just have it there. Because that's how it should be. Like, it honestly, that's why I don't need a gay character to be the main character, because then it'll be the gay Disney prince or the gay Disney princess. And that's what I want. I just want a normal person. It's just, hey, there they are. Oh, and by the way, they're gay.
Yeah, and they just be representative of how people actually work, right? Like, if you are on the street and you meet a friend and it turns out they're gay, that doesn't make or break something for you. They just happen to be gay. That's just part of who they are. And we don't get a lot of that. We get a lot of pandering to a demographic.
Yeah, and I mean, same thing with black characters. We just need black characters in Disney stuff.
Why I love the Falcon in Marvel so much is he was, from his inception, just a character, and his whole purpose was Captain America needs to be brought down to our modern levels and understand what the real social problems are. It had nothing to do with the fact that he was black, and that's what made him such a great character for so many years.
Mm-hmm.
And
I agree.
Now that Marvel's owned by Disney, they need to do something like that. They've got the precedent for it now.
Wonder, like a Falcon solo movie or something, you think?
Oh, yeah. I love
that guy would be perfect for it, so yes.
Motherfucker fought a fighter jet with 2 MKs. That's badass in my book.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's still like, I gotta laugh at what CinemaSins pointed out about it. It's like, taken down in 2 seconds.
You know what's, like, that's the thing that I didn't like about Age of Ultron. Just, like, we got Rhodey, and I like Rhodey, but, like, fucking, where's Falcon? Like, I just like his... He was, but not enough of him.
Well, Falcon is pretty clearly more of a street-level hero. Like, he doesn't do avenging. That's not his thing. That never was, until...
Except in the end credits scene.
Yeah, but...
Well, not end credits, but except in the final scene of the movie.
Yeah, he became an Avenger, but, like, his whole purpose was never to really be an Avenger. The whole point of him being in the Avengers now is that he's not ready for it, but we're going to make him ready.
Yeah, that's fine.
You know what I like the most about the whole relationship in Winter Soldier about Cap and Will.
Bucky.
Not Bucky. Basically, it's just like everyone's always talking like, "Oh, Captain America, you silly old-fashioned feller," and like with Cap and Falcon, it's just kind of like they're just 2 really earnest, really fucking kind-hearted fellas. And they're just, like, friends because they're soldiers, and it's like, oh, it's cool. Like, they have a really sweet, like, dynamic. It's like, hey,
they just connect on a very human level, and that's what makes them. Yeah. They're fast friends because they both, on a very basic level, understand what the other is going through.
They're essentially the same guy. They're both just as earnest as one another. That's why they fit so well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. But let's get back to Disney on a whole, because I don't want to say it just like this alone, but I think the Marvel Cinematic Universe is being left alone just because it happens to be working.
Yeah.
I think that if they started having more problems, Disney would get more involved, and it would start to look a lot more like other Disney products, don't you think?
Oh yeah, definitely so. Because they sink $200 million into each movie, but they perform at $700 to $1 billion per movie. So Disney's okay for now. But the moment one of them crashes and burns, or 2 consecutively do, they're gonna jump in there like sharks.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see how that goes.
And I really doubt it's going to happen, at least for 5-10 years. I really doubt we're going to see any interference until past Phase 4, probably.
I don't know, because like when you think about it, if you don't count Guardians, since it's not like entirely involved in Avengers, there was only one movie in Phase 2. If you don't count Guardians or Ultron, since that's kind of like the cap off, there was only one movie in Phase 2 that was universally liked by both fans and critics. You know, because Iron Man 3 was really, like, even though it was a critically acclaimed movie, it was really rocky as far as audience enjoyment. And Thor 2 had a lot of audience enjoyment, but it didn't enjoy much critical success.
Well, Iron Man 3 did break $1 billion, so the audience thing didn't matter.
Yeah, but I mean, audiences were still not happy about it, though.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just saying, like, it's interesting, because Winter Soldier is the only one of those Phase 2 movies that, like, really performed well and got a lot of critical success. Guardians, of course, did, but, like, I don't really consider that part of the thing because it's kind of off on its own. And then Ultron's kind of the cap off on it.
Well, I mean, Ant-Man has been retroactively thrown into Phase 2 now, so we'll see how they cap off with that.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how that goes, too.
You know what's awesome? We got fucking the Atom shrinking on the small screen before the Ant-Man did it on the big screen.
Okay. Anyway,
just to go back on the whole gay thing and Steven Universe and how like that compares to Disney. Like with Steven Universe, like it's a really weird show because I'm sure kids are watching it like, oh, you know, it's a cute fucking like a little kid lives with his aunties that happen to be space aliens, whatever. But it's just like all this underlining stuff with like fucking Garnet being 2 little girls essentially morphing into one big black woman. And it's just like, hey, let's fucking talk up. It's very subversive in a very subtle way. And it's like...
Well, I don't think it's subtle at all,
works.
but yeah.
Not subtle at all.
That's
like,
how it's working now. It's like,
it's
hey,
subtle for
look,
kids.
here's characters that are not vanilla, and it's working, and it's still children's entertainment.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's,
like,
but I mean,
they
a lot of
actually
cases
have-
it's about those issues. It has an entire episode about gender identity when Steven and his friend Connie fused together and they were one person. It's not subtle at all, and it's not even like retroactively talking about issues. It's about those issues first.
It's just
before
a
it's about any of
story.
the
It's just a really... Like, it reminds me of Mobius a lot. That show reminds me a lot of... Like, it's Mobius done via Kitty show. Via anime also. But it's just so... Like, that kind of stuff, it's fascinating storytelling, but it's kind of odd for me. It's like, oh my god, I'm in college age, and this makes sense to me. And I'm like, oh, like, I wonder if there were, like, little kids watching this, and when they get to my age, and I'm an old man, and they look back at this, and they're like, holy shit, they were brainwashing my mind with all that gay shit.
I mean, Adventure Time is the same way. Regular Show is the same way. The Amazing World of Gumball is the same way. They've got all these shows on Cartoon Network now that are very clearly pushing and talking about issues and diversifying audiences and minds. And then you turn on Disney XD and it's shit like Dog with a Blog.
It's
I watched
funny.
an episode of that. That was pretty awful.
It's funny that we fucking... Like, how old are we now? Like, I'm 22. Steve is...
20.
20.
Oh, wow.
Really?
Young.
You're fucking young. And what about you, Ian?
I'm 24.
God damn it.
And I didn't have to think about it this time, so I'm quite proud of myself.
Oh my god. But, like, we know what Dog with a Blog is, and that's kind of scary. But, oh, Jesus. But, I, like, fucking, you're 20 years old? Oh my god, I've accomplished nothing. Ah!
Anyway, Milan's gonna go cut himself now.
Okay, anyway, yeah.
No, it's interesting, though, because you have other shows out there pushing this, and Disney being the leader of the industry that it is, it's weird that it's lagging behind. And, you gotta think about it. They gotta be talking about this, though. Like, there's boardroom meetings where they're debating this kind of issue.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. Warner Brothers has got the same thing. And Warner Brothers has got the same issue as well. If they're talking about these issues, they're debating the issues, they're just not front-charging it. And I wonder if a lot of the problem here is that Disney had its critical and mature success a little bit too early. Like, if Pixar was a company, and if those creators were like 10 years younger and they started doing things now, Disney would be far more ahead of the game than they are. Because they got off easy. They told a mature story when all it took to get audiences in the seats was fancy effects. Mm-hmm. And then they kind of just sat into a rut.
Yeah, I agree. And, like, I don't know exactly what you mean by Warner Brothers, but I'll agree that they aren't pushing any envelopes either with that stuff. At least not yet. Like I say, if Supergirl shows Jimmy Olsen shows up and is wearing a dress and stuff, I'm game.
Well, I mean, like, you just look at stuff like the Warner Brothers channel, like CW, and just how typical they are. Warner Brothers is very much about cashing in on a demographic. Disney is very much about perpetuating two mindsets. And they're both they both have the same issues. They both don't know how to push things forward, but they both got, like, small sub-companies that are able to do that. They don't understand how to cash in on that success.
Well, to be fair, even though it wasn't done super well or very much, Arrow Season 2, I know they did, well, not Talia, but the other Al Ghul daughter, and what's her name's relationship?
Sarah Lance.
Yeah, they did them as a couple, which, I mean, that was a nice little touch.
It was kind of ruined by Season 3, but yeah.
I don't know, I haven't seen Season 3.
That's the thing, it's okay when girls do the whole making out gay thing, but when
there is kind of a hierarchy of social acceptable homosexuality.
Oh yeah, because when girls do it, it's cool.
Yeah, lesbians are at the top of the hierarchy where everyone seems cool with them. Gay men are hit and miss. Transgenders are down at the very bottom. Bisexuals are, I guess, right underneath lesbians. I kind of skipped them. So yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, it's really weird that that's a thing, but I would say at least Warner Brothers on the fringes, even though it's only on television, which had their big coming out moment back in the 90s with Ellen. Even though it's only on television, at least they're doing something, whereas Disney still seems to be sitting quietly.
Yeah, and I don't think they're going to get away with that much longer. I don't know. We fast forward the clocks like 10 years, and I think they're going to go in a bit of a new direction.
I certainly hope so, because it's weird to sit here and see Disney just perpetuating the same movie and doing a lot of the same things. Like, what was it? Frozen. Frozen was an okay movie. It wasn't like great or anything.
Yeah, it was good, but that's about it, I thought.
Nah, like I didn't think it was good. I thought it was okay because, I don't know, the villain plot kind of fell apart for me because I didn't think it was very creative. And I felt like the villain got shoehorned in at the last 10 minutes. Like if you don't have a villain until the last 20 minutes of your movie, I don't think your movie needs a villain. Especially when the whole point of your movie is that people aren't listening to each other and don't want to understand one another. So, like, throwing a villain in at the last minute seemed like a problem, and it seemed like it was done to fit with the Disney formula. To, there's a princess and there's a bad guy and they gotta fight.
Yeah.
Well, at least they have, like, it was a cute movie. You know what's weird? Whenever I hear like you both are, you're both are pussy fans. You're both straight, aren't you?
Yes.
Yes.
It's weird when I fucking hear like straight folks get so adamant about the gay shit. I'm like, why? It's nothing to do with you.
Because it's a fundamental human right.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't understand why that's like a thing. Like, why do you even care? You're not gay. I'm like, I don't have to be gay to care about someone else being, silenced.
It's like the argument where people say the only ones that want privacy are the ones that have something to hide, and that's bullshit.
Yeah.
Because if that was true, give me your credit card number right now.
Yeah, exactly. Leave it in the comments below. And the security code on the back and the expiration date.
Yes, exactly.
You remember a couple years back, there was that guy on, there was a commercial for some identity theft protection program, and this guy was, like, giving his social security number, like, out. He was, like, handing it out on flyers, and he had it, like, on a billboard, and there was a truck, and they filmed it in a commercial and everything.
Yeah.
About a month later, that commercial got pulled because his identity got stolen.
Well, that was a
Okay.
misnomer. Yeah, like, can't believe you're 20
That was
years
one of my
old.
favorite stories ever.
Yeah. I don't know.
Okay.
I just think like it's just getting really weird. It's just like I don't like that thing being seen as normal. It's like I don't know. It's like fucking. I don't want.
I think it's brainwashing.
Yeah.
No,
I mean,
it's not.
push the clock. Okay, we put fast forward. Push the clock back like 50 years, and someone who'd say, "I don't want that thing to be seen as normal," would be targeted towards black people. What's the difference?
That's the thing. They can't help it. Black
So
people are black.
gay people can't help it.
I
Being
know,
gay
but there's a sexual element to it. It's like, no. They like butt sex and stuff.
No, that's such a dumb art. Like, I don't even understand how someone who is gay or bi is having this argument come out of their mouth right now.
Yeah, it doesn't make
I don't know.
any sense at all.
Like, this is total indoctrination. I can't really think.
I'm
Like,
Russian.
right, you're saying like
I'm
it's so weird to hear. It's so weird to hear straight guys get so adamant about gay rights. So I'm like, okay. But that same argument, why were white people marching with the black people? They had rights. Why should they care about whether or not black people did?
I don't know.
What kind of conversation is that?
Yeah, really.
I'm Russian. I'm gonna I'm a champion at doublethink. But it's just like, it just doesn't it's fine when you discuss it in like a superhero still, like I can Batwoman and all that stuff.
It's not fine. It's not fine. You don't get to pick and choose. I'm afraid it's either okay for everything and it's not okay in anything. Because
I don't
for kids.
I don't like the concept of homosexuality being exposed to children. That's all it is.
Why?
Why?
Because it doesn't fucking feel right. It's like fucking leave the kids alone. Wait till they're fucking of
But then
age.
why?
Okay,
then-
so
then
what about the birds and the bees talk? What about sex ed for kids?
Oh, Jesus.
What about just teaching them biology? Is that wrong too?
God damn
No,
you
like,
with your facts.
I mean, I don't want to like completely question your whole world or say you're indoctrinated or anything, but I can't think of another argument that really works.
I don't know.
Other than
Let me
have
explain myself.
indoctrinated
Let me explain myself. You see,
Go for it.
when I was like before you knew me, like I was fucking happy and I was this and that, and it's just like everything's so happy. I was talking gay and dicks everywhere, but then I found I saw how people see people like me, and I'm like this is how people see people like me, really? Oh shit! Sorry, everyone.
Okay, well let me come in with this.
Yeah.
The whole purpose of what Steve and I are talking about, of Disney and other properties pushing forth the fact that these lifestyles are perfectly normal because they are, is to get rid of that perception.
Yeah, exactly. It's a matter of if you're a kid and you're okay with gay rights and bisexuality and transgender and all of that, then you grow up in a society that doesn't have that sort of stigma.
I don't know.
Here's the thing. I'm from one of the first, my brother and I are, because he's about 7 or 8 years older than me, so he and I went to school in some of the first generations where we had truly integrated, racially integrated school systems. Obviously it started in the 60s, but there was white flight and all that shit. But by the time you get to the 80s and 90s is when we started getting fully integrated school systems. So when I got older and I started learning about all the stuff about, the school systems being segregated and all this crap about, it'll ruin our kids and they won't be able to keep up and understand each other, you just hear the stupidity of the indoctrination and all the propaganda and the bullcrap. And once you're actually in it, once you're in a system that's been able to get past that and just view it as perfectly normal, because it is, then you realize, that was just stupid indoctrination bullshit, excuses to keep people from having rights.
Yeah, kids don't see things as you're black and I'm white, therefore I'm better. That's a cultural thing. You have to teach that. It's not inherent.
And to be fair, showing kids homosexuality or anything that's not vanilla, let's say, showing them that they're going to be able to understand that it's normal, so that when they see it in day-to-day life, they won't freak out about it. But they're not going to understand it until they get to the ages you're talking about. They're not going to truly understand what's going on anyway, because when you're a kid, it's so funny. You can watch a little girl watch a princess movie, watch fucking Snow White or something, say, oh, I want to be a princess, and I want a prince and everything, and then go and ask her if she wants to play with the neighbor boy, and she'll be like, no, boys are gross. And you can do the exact same thing with a boy. You can have him watch a superhero movie where Superman saves Lois Lane and they kiss, and you go, yeah, that's so cool, Superman's awesome. And then you go, you want to play with Susie next door? No, she's a girl, they're gross. That's just how people will react. They'll be like, oh, they won't get the sexual or the romantic contexts because they're kids. They have, that part of their brain has not turned on yet.
Yeah, I mean, you use examples from Steven Universe. Steven Universe does that a lot, where the older characters, the friends and such, talk about how there's a relationship budding and they don't understand that. There are people in the show that tell Steven how weird it is that he lives with 3 women and he can't comprehend it. Mm-hmm. And that's the ideal. That's what it should be. That kind of question should be asked. It's like what Joss Whedon says when someone asks him, why do you keep writing strong female characters? And his answer is, because you're still asking me that question.
Yeah, I mean, George R. R. Martin was asked that question on Conan, I believe. There's so why do you think that you write such strong female characters? And he goes, it's weird, but I've always thought of women as humans.
I don't know. I've never really, this whole fucking self-hate thing, it's not really self-hate, it's self-awareness, really. Beforehand, you knew how I fucking was, a couple of years ago. I made that giant-ass fucking slash fiction improvisational thing where I talk about dicks and orgies with superheroes and whatever. I was really out, but then I'm I got to my fucking, 20s and whatever, and I started fucking looking at all that stuff, and I'm like, yeah, Jesus.
I
No.
think you really need to take the time to just sit down and really consider this on your own, because I don't think there's anything that Steve and I are going to say to you that you don't already know. But it's one of those things where, like, I think you need to sit down and consider your own upbringing and how you were told to view gay people, lesbian, whatever, non-vanilla lifestyles. I think you should take a minute to sit down and truly consider that, and consider how much of what you're thinking is what you honestly believe and how you act day to day in your life, and what you've been told to believe.
Well, I don't know. There's a certain thing. When I first discovered the concept of right-leaning thought, like, you know how it went. It didn't go well. But it's just this idea of somebody said this one thing, like, oh, I'm not afraid about. Essentially, somebody's talking about, oh, I'm not afraid to talk shit about gay people. Like, there's a lot of mental health problems in that subculture, and I'm like, yeah, look at me. I guess I understand what people are saying. People don't. There should be a reason why people don't like people like me. I mean, like, it should make sense.
No, it doesn't. It's bigotry. It doesn't make sense. People rationalize it away because they don't want to admit that they're bigots.
Yeah.
Huh.
I mean, it is pretty much as simple
You
as...
mean there's absolutely no reason for people to be even slightly like, yeah, get away from me, faggot?
No, like, here's the thing. If you go back 1,000 years or whatever, and I don't like using the Greeks as an example because of other reasons that I'm not going to bring up. If you go back 1,000 years ago and you talk to fucking Aristotle, who was considered the smartest man in the world in his time, he would have told you that women were a birth defect and that we just had to have sex with them because the gods wanted to punish us. That was the viewpoint. It's like, oh, heterosexuality is disgusting, but we have to do it because otherwise we won't get to have sons. And when you have a daughter, it's because the cosmic winds didn't blow right that day and the gods cursed you.
Oh, that's funny.
No, I mean, that's the viewpoint of the society. They had to rationalize why they were homosexuals. It's like, because you're homosexuals, that's fine, it's whatever. And then they had to rationalize why they liked little kids, because you're fucking perverts.
Yeah, the Greeks were fucking odd like that.
No, but like any culture, like the prevailing sexual preference, they're gonna rationalize why it's the ideal way. I mean, Plato, and here's the godfather of philosophy. Plato lined out the levels of purest sex, or the levels of purest pairings. So lesbians were right at the bottom because he acknowledged that they exist, but he didn't understand what anyone could possibly get out of that. Once again, there's your view of women for the time. Then there was man and woman because it was necessary. Then there was man and man because it was great and awesome. And then there was man and boy because that's what the gods did. So, like, any culture's gonna have, like, there's your godfather of philosophy, everybody. Fucking pedophilia is the purest form of love. So any culture's gonna have weird shit that they do sexually, and it's whatever you're attracted to, whatever you're attracted to.
Yeah.
The reason pedophilia is wrong is because the child has no way to consent.
Yeah, like, fucking kids is bad, kids. I mean, adults.
Yeah, but
don't fuck kids.
Isn't wrong. Heterosexuality isn't inherently better because it's biologically necessary. There are plenty of animals that go fuck the wrong gender. Doesn't matter. They're just horny little fuck machines. You're just a ball of chemicals and electrical impulses that's firing around, telling you to do whatever the fuck you're doing. There's no pure form or right way to do anything. That's just fucking bullshit. People wanting to believe something and making up reasons to. So Disney.
Yeah.
So after that brief analysis of what Nietzsche says about everything,
So Disney. No, it's one of those things where, like, it's weird that it got this far, especially when the opening sketch for this video is vaguely homophobic.
that's weird.
Very much
Okay,
so. Yeah.
Like, it's funny, like, I went through high school and stuff, and no one is more homophobic than teenage boys. And I went through all that same shit, and I felt that way, and I realized just how stupid that was as I got older and more mature. And so it's one of those things where I think Disney's trying to hold on to an old culture and try not to rock a boat by taking leaps and bounds. But if they want to be considered if people want me to consider Disney to be the height of our modern day culture, then I need them to push boundaries and not try to play it safe.
The big issue is they don't take risks in that department. They've got the ability to lead, and they don't. They just kind of follow. And I think in some respects that's okay. In some respects, you don't want big companies telling you which way the wind should blow and controlling how you think. At the same time, when it makes sense, it makes sense. When there is a cultural consensus about something, it shouldn't be resisted that up high.
Yeah, I mean, like, say what you will about New 52 and everything, but I really applauded them that they actually took a step to put more diversity, not just of race, but of sexual orientation into their books with that. I thought it was a little bit...
They didn't handle it well, but they tried, yeah.
Yeah, it was a little bit right idea, wrong direction when they made Stormwatch a team full of only gay characters. I'm like, no, wrong way to go about it, but good intentions.
And Marvel now did the same thing, and that
lie
really
on that
well with
giant
characters like
spaceship.
with the new Miss Marvel and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's like...
Is Miss Marvel gay or whatever?
No, she's a Muslim character.
Oh, interesting. Green Lantern did that too, which was cool. It's just one of those things where, like, I like it when other companies are at least trying, and it seems like Disney's the only one that's really kind of staying back at this point.
They've got this weird stuck in nostalgia kind of vibe, because they've been making new Mickey Mouse cartoons, and they're really great cartoons. But it's very much like capturing the essence of what old Mickey Mouse stuff was, just with new animation.
Okay.
So it makes you wonder if they're just kind of stuck in trying to recapture the glory days, supposed to move something forward. One of my favorite things about Warner Brothers is, and it didn't last long, and it sucks, they made the Looney Tunes show, which was basically Looney Tunes as a sitcom. And it was really good, because it wasn't just making new skits with Looney Tunes characters, it was making sure that none of them were untouchable and making them deal with real things like relationship stuff and how to deal with like upselling and legitimate jokes about like just living in a suburban society.
And I like that they actually gave Lola a character.
Huh?
That was so funny to make Lola like a crazy stalker bitch.
Yeah, and then give Daphne like a legitimately interesting and well-developed girlfriend and stuff like that. And Disney hasn't done that. I want the Looney Tunes show equivalent of Mickey Mouse, and I want the Looney Tunes show to keep going, even though it's got canceled.
Like 2 years ago?
Yeah, I know. I really did like that show, though. I wish they kept going with it, because it was the right idea.
You know what's strange? Like, that we want these characters that we've grown up as children to grow up with us, and then it's just like, well, we can't do that. That would be selfish for the newer generation. Like, we can't...
Well, no, we're not asking them to grow up with us. We're asking them to evolve with the culture. You don't want an Iron Man character running around right now that's a racist philanthropist. You don't want Captain America going around punching buck-toothed Japanese people. It's not about making the characters grow up with us. It's about capturing the culture as it is for the time period.
And to be fair, like, I'm not an advocate for erasing history. I don't want, like, it's a weird thing to bring up in this, but, you know, there was that whole debate back in the 90s or whatever about coloring black and white films.
Yeah.
And I am kind of on the fence about that. I'm like, yeah, some of these films were meant to be in color, they just didn't have the budget for it, so yes, color it, but at the same time, don't erase history. For every version of the film that you release, 2 cuts, one black and white, one in color. Why is that so hard to do? VHS tapes were coming in 2-packs forever, and DVDs can hold so much data on them, you don't need all those bullshit special features. Just give me 2 cuts of the movie, one in color, one in black and white, and I'll choose for myself.
Yeah, and I mean, we're all about preserving film. We got the Library of Congress that does that, and keeping history intact is good. Making sure that you can go back to like a 70s movie and get the vibe of the 70s is good. But if you're going to make a movie today, it can't be a movie that still has the same social sensibilities as 40 years ago.
Yeah. I agree entirely. Like,
it's weird. Like, everyone's talking about social shit, and it's really strange.
Well, we are talking about Disney as a cultural enterprise. I don't know how you do that without society.
No, not just like just us. I mean, like, overall, there's this whole vibe of cultural change in the air. And it's odd. Like, what the fuck? Like, we're like, for the longest time, I thought we were a generation of fuck-ups and losers. And then I realized, no, that's just me.
Oh my god, that was awesome. Okay, anyway. No, I think that our movies have become much more meta and much more about things over the last, I don't know, 10 years, give or take. And so we've been addressing things directly now, and Disney, once again, I don't think is really catching up on there with their mainline stuff. Just with the properties that they bought that are working autonomously as long as they're making money, those are the ones that are actually pushing the envelopes, but they're not pushing Disney's envelopes. They're pushing their own envelopes.
Yeah.
Disney's just kind of sitting back, doing its thing. Frozen, like I said, it was an okay movie, but it's still very formulaic. The thing that got me about Frozen is, why the hell did Anna fall in love with the ice dude? Why didn't she get to keep her prince, and then the ice dude fell in love with Elsa? Why didn't that happen?
I actually wondered that. I thought, watching the movie for the first time.
Though, because if you keep falling in love with her princess, it would erase the message of you can't fall in love with a guy you just met.
I don't know. I think that was kind of shoehorned in.
I don't know how that was shoehorned in when that was like in the first 30 minutes of the movie. But okay. Anyway.
Fair enough. I don't know. I thought like the whole point of the movie was about not understanding, not hearing anyone out, just shutting yourself off. And I think that would have been a part of it, because Elsa would have been doing it to Anna in the first place by just not even being willing to listen to Anna wanting to get married.
Well, I mean, that was part of it. The other part was your brain is just as important as your heart. You can't judge everything just based on feelings. So at the end of the movie, Elsa wasn't wrong. She just kind of went off a deep end, and so did Elsa.
Yeah, I agree. I get that. I still don't like the villain plot overall, so especially since he's only a villain in the last 20 minutes, I don't feel like you needed him to be a villain in the first place.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to make him a villain, but you can't make those two get together because that would defeat the point.
I don't know, I think it could have still worked out, but regardless, I think, I remember thinking that in the movie theater, where it's just like, God, why didn't you just keep those two together, and then you could have had fucking what's-his-face, I cannot remember that character's name, the ice dude, fall in love with Elsa, because, like, it's weird, because they almost kind of set it up when he's, like, so amazed at that ice staircase and stuff, like, they almost set up that he's kind of fascinated by Elsa in a certain respect, and you could have gone places with that. Anyway, no, it's just, like, I feel like Frozen, while it was an okay movie, good in some ways, bad, and not bad, but not as impressive in others, I think it's an overrated movie. I really could have used that movie to push some envelopes, and honestly, I don't think it does at the end of the day. I think it's a good Disney movie.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Pixar, with their next movie, I think it's Pixar, is making a new short. It's inspired by one of the people that work with them, about what's it like, for 5 minutes in the morning, what's it like to be an Indian kid with Indian parents. Born in America, but your parents are from India. And they've got, like, this great still of, like, living in a tiny one-bedroom apartment where the kid's watching TV and his dad's doing the morning prayer right next to him. And it's a really good image. It's a really good study that people are different in some ways, but more similar in others. Because while the cultural practices are different, they still enjoy the same things. They still talk about things the same way. They're still all connected on a basic human level.
Exactly.
And the fact that we haven't gotten more stuff like that is annoying, but the fact that we are finally getting it is sort of redeeming.
Yeah, and once again, Pixar,
it's funny.
It's closer. Pixar is closer to the main fold of Disney, but it's still kind of out on the edge, wouldn't you say?
Oh, it is. I mean, because
it's weird.
Getting has just been like a small company that Disney doesn't touch too much, and Disney should take some notes from them to some degree.
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead, Milan.
It's weird because looking at this whole nuclear family thing from the perspective of an immigrant boy living in the ghetto, it always seems something so incredibly enticing, just like stability and people who aren't insane. And it seemed like the best thing ever. And I live in a place where there's no white people. Only like I live in the ghetto. The only immigrants, Africans, Samoans, fucking Russians, Serbians, fucking Indians, a lot of people, and Muslims as well. And this, you don't get a lot of like white folk as you understand it. And like I remember one night, one day I walked into this local like not 7-Eleven, but like a corner store, and like the guy at the counter wasn't there. And I said, "Hey, where are you?" And I looked around. There was a little cupboard space, like hidden off space, and I looked over there, and it was just the dude praying, doing his daily prayers, Muslim prayers, and like facing towards Mecca. And I just stood there and I waited him to finish, and it took about 5 minutes, and he got up, folded up his little carpet, and I bought my cigarette and went on my way. And I didn't really see it, like it was just like, yeah, it's just what a dude does.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird, like I like Muslims, like they make really good food,
Are you going somewhere with this?
I don't. I owe it.
You just want to tell that story.
I want to tell that story. Also, I owe my local kebab guy about $80. I pay. I love kebabs. They're amazing. Like a lovely family. Like they live not too far away from our house, and like we have this arrangement going. And essentially, I have a tab, and I bring home like a kebab every other day or so for me and my little brother, and he just like, hey, you can pay me back later. And just a really sweet man.
Okay. Anyway, so with what Steve was saying, I think Pixar, if we were to put it in stages, and I'm gonna leave Star Wars out for now since we haven't seen quite what they've done with Star Wars yet.
The point of that story is that my dad, he's from Bosnia, right? And so he's like, don't trust the Muslims. They will stab you in the throat. And I'm like, but they're so lovely. Like, I like Muslims too, but don't trust them, And
okay, well, like, since we haven't seen quite what Disney's doing with Star Wars yet, I'm going to leave this out. But I think if I'm going to have to rank it, it's like Disney's its thing, and then you have Pixar kind of in the middle, and then you have Marvel out on the fringes doing their own thing. And Pixar is kind of able to reach out and do their own thing to a certain extent, but I feel like Disney has been pulling them back into the fold.
I think a lot of that is also just the creators of Pixar and Disney Animation are jumping back and forth between each other a lot lately. Mm-hmm. So they're kind of meshing and they're kind of not. It's kind of like the weird de facto relationship is crumbling.
Yeah, I agree. It's one of those weird things though, where like I think there's a hierarchy to it, and I'm interested to see how far out Star Wars goes with the with continuing that.
Yeah, what's strange? It's so strange. Like in the new Star Wars film, in the trailers at least, everyone's
no, fuck you, shut your goddamn mouth.
What?
Fuck you.
What?
You do not talk about trailers for Star Wars on this goddamn show.
Can I?
Or two. Period.
At all? Like,
the trailers are so awesome, though. All I'm saying.
I don't. Shut your whore mouth, Steve Baxi.
The trailers are so good. Anyway.
No one talks about trailers.
Trailers are fun to talk about. But anyway, yeah.
So, like, I'm curious to see what Star Wars does, though. I read 2 of the Star Wars comic books that are coming out. Those are pretty good. The Darth Vader one's great.
It's fantastic, yeah.
Yeah, check out my new comic review show. Plug, whore.
Check out my weekly comic review show as well, because I've got videos up for the entire year. Anyway.
Yeah, you're like, I've been seeing you talk about those on Twitter. It's like, this will be up. We recorded this last night, and now it'll be up on October 23rd. I'm like, what?
Yeah, it's great. The last one I uploaded won't be seen until September, and I've got things recorded past October. It's awesome.
Okay, good for you.
I make fucking motion comics and shit.
Yeah. Is there anything else we want to say about Disney?
It's a
no?
Like, when do you think the very first gay Disney kiss is gonna be? Just like 2 dudes making out in an animation.
If a Disney executive sees this, hopefully it's the movie after the next one.
Yeah,
I'm saying within the next 10 years we will see that.
The next 10 years, eh? How is the world gonna react to that?
I think well.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting because, like, right now it's getting incredibly out of fashion. Because I remember just 10 years ago hearing like arguments against gay marriage, being like, oh, if we let gays marry, then everything will happen. People will be marrying fucking donkeys or whatever. And like now, if someone were to say some shit like that, they'd get blasted.
Well, I think part of what it is that people
media
realized the arguments were really broke down.
Well, no, part of that is, but I think also part of it is just social media is kicking people in the nuts.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, so we're gonna go ahead and wrap this episode up. Steve, it's your turn to pick a review topic.
Sweet, picking a review topic. Okay. I don't want to do a comic because comics take a while to read and won't necessarily all have access to them. What's something I really wanted to watch recently, but I haven't had a chance to, and this will give me the perfect excuse for it.
I love that you guys do that. Like, what would be a good thing for us to actually talk about? Where you guys are like, I need an excuse to watch something.
Exactly. That's exactly what this is for. Let's talk about Taxi Driver.
No, we've already done an episode on Taxi Driver.
Oh, have you really?
Yeah, with Alex.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
The Robert De Niro movie, really?
What?
The Robert De Niro?
Yeah, Robert De Niro, Martin Scorsese.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. I did not know that. I never saw that.
Why didn't we do just an episode about Daredevil?
I've done like 4
TV
podcasts
show.
on Daredevil.
Yeah, like we've all done. Steve's done.
Let's do Nightcrawler.
Like,
Oh, okay, yeah, that's on Netflix.
Yeah, it just got put on Netflix. So
what is that about anyway?
it's a Jake Gyllenhaal movie about him making money by filming accident crime scenes and selling it to news reporters before the cops get there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so it's kind of like an old school, like, that's kind of old school. Like that's what they used to do, like, back in the old days, back in the 1920s. Oh my god, there was an accident, let's go take pictures and sell it to the newspapers before the cops get there.
Yeah.
That was actually...
Yeah, it still happens in the bigger markets.
It does. It's very dangerous, but it happens.
Yep, you try to get there before the police, like, especially when you get to, like, a bank robbery before the police, that's a great idea.
What about a murder? Like, oh, somebody's getting murdered.
Exactly. Yep.
Really?
Exactly.
That's what they
It's
do.
a very dangerous job. Good way to get yourself killed.
But isn't that like after a certain point, like, hey, hold still as you murder that person and as I take the picture? I mean, that's kind of fucked up. I mean, like, wouldn't you try to help the motherfucker?
Yeah, that's some of the stuff that's brought up in Nightcrawler. All right, yeah, that's a good pick, Steve. I'm excited for that.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite movies from last year, so it'll be fun.
Hopefully the universe will allow it.
Yes.
The universe allowed this episode, which I'm really glad for, because I think this is a really good episode, guys.
I agree.
All right, everyone, so thank you for listening. Next week we'll be talking about Nightcrawler. Watch Steve Backseat's comic reviews of old story arcs for the next year. Watch Milan's motion comics. He and I are working on a Sandman motion comic. And watch my new comic review show. Watch my Lego videos. I think I might even start doing some basic video editing and maybe 3D editing tutorials if people are interested in it.
That would be lots of fun.
Yeah, totally. All right, everyone, so thanks for watching. Until next time, I'm the Philosopher.
I'm the Politician.
And I'm the Madman.
And we are your geeky gentlemen. And we will be discussing things.